And this was published on December 18th, 2018, correct?
That is correct.
Aquaman was released on December 21st, 2018, right?
Yes, that sounds correct.
And that was your first big blockbuster, big budget role, right?
I disagree, but it was the first time I had like a leading role in a movie of that size, yes. Well, second time, yes.
What was your first time?
But the first one was the film I talked about before, yesterday, Justice League. It introduced the character. So, technically it was the second one.
But you were the love interest in Aquaman, correct?
That is correct.
Now, at least parts of this op-ed are about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
It's about what happened to me after.
You sat here during opening statements when your attorney argued that the context of your statements in this op-ed matter, correct?
That's correct.
So let's go through some of that context. He wrote here, quote, "Friends and advisors told me I would never work again as an actress, that I would be blacklisted."
That is
You're
correct.
referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp in the statement, aren't you?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
You're referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp in the statement, aren't you?
In general, I'm referring to being associated with domestic violence.
And you're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-parte domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp in May of 2016, right?
Are you asking me if that's what I was writing about?
That's what you're referring to, correct?
Can you just give me the question again? I'm sorry.
You're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-parte restraining order against Mr. Depp in May of 2016.
That's correct.
You also wrote, quote, "Questions arose as to whether I would be able to keep my role of Mira in the films Justice League and Aquaman." This is also referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
This is referring to what happened to me after I got my TRO, my restraining order.
Against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
These questions arose only after you accused Mr. Depp of domestic violence in May of 2016, allegedly, right?
Yeah, from the time I got the TRO, being associated with domestic violence, that's what it's a reference to, yes.
You also wrote, quote, "Imagine a powerful man as a ship like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise." In this op-ed, you're saying Mr. Depp is a ship, right?
I'm making an analogy to a powerful man as a ship.
The powerful man you're referring to in this analogy is Mr. Depp, right?
I was talking about a bigger issue, actually, than just Johnny. I was talking about what we as a country were talking about at the time of writing this, which is when powerful men in general do something horrible or something they shouldn't, how there is a system in place to protect them, clean up after them, maintain them afloat. This is a reference to not just Johnny, it was about what was happening as a culture when we were addressing a lot of Me Too issues for the first time.
The iceberg is you in this analogy, right, Ms. Heard?
I would not say that. That was not what I intended to know.
So this is another reference to your accusations against Mr. Depp.
No, this is about what happened to me once I left that relationship and got a TRO and became associated with domestic violence.
Right. But it's your testimony that this op-ed isn't about Mr. Depp, right?
It's about what happened to me after. That's correct.
It's about your experience after obtaining a temporary restraining order against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct, among other things.
But it's not about Mr. Depp.
It is not about him.
Mr. Depp is making it about Mr. Depp, right?
Ironically.
It's Kind of like that Carly Simon song, right, Miss Heard?
I don't know what you mean.